Okay, so this is a father raising a teenage daughter. Okay, so after gang life, nobody can handle me. My mother couldn't, my grandmothers couldn't, nobody wanted to be bothered with me. I was that bad. Like, horrible. So, next stop was daddy. Now, mind you, I have spent a summer with my father, but I never actually lived with my father. Okay. So, I was dropped off to my dad. This time when I was dropped off with my dad, I was beaten real bad, but that's another story. But yes, I was dropped off to my father, and he already had my brother with him. My brother been with him since he was a little boy. But me coming in, he had a wife, well, a girlfriend at the time. She wasn't his wife yet. And then her two children, my brother, and then me. Mind you, he had three other children across town by his ex-wife in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So at this time, my dad was one of the biggest drug dealers in Milwaukee. Okay. Um, so he had this nice, decent house where he didn't do any drug activity. So he had this nice, decent house on 51st. We lived on 51st and Villard. And where he did his business was on 17th and North. That's Milwaukee, Wisconsin. At this time, I'm like 8th grade, right? Okay. So because my dad wasn't around when I was younger, bringing me in, he wanted to spoil me a little bit. Now, I'm still this tomboy, rough Kiana. You know what I'm saying? But I'm coming into a new city from Chicago to Milwaukee, and then um, in a house with a whole bunch of new people. So at that time, I wasn't getting along with nobody in the house but my dad. So me and my brother wasn't getting along. As like I said in the last video, we was in two separate gangs, so we was always into it, and I was invading his space. You know what I'm saying? Because they end up putting our rooms upstairs side by side. We had separate rooms, but they end up being side by side. And my stepmom at the time had two kids. Me and her son didn't get along. So it was always a problem. And then me being a teenage girl, it was like she couldn't tell me what to do. She also had a little baby, which was by my dad, was my little brother. So, you know, I end up being stuck with him all the time to keep me out of trouble. So everybody thought he was my baby because he was with me all the time, and she was always with my dad. My stepmom was always with my dad. So my dad, he put me a phone in my room. We had cell phones back then. We had house phones. So he put my own phone in my room. He got me whatever I wanted. I didn't want for anything. Again, he was a drug dealer. He could afford these things. So I guess that was him being like, I wasn't there. Like when things happen to you, I wasn't there. Like, when you needed me, but I'm here now. I always said my dad saved my life, because if it wasn't for him, no, I'd probably be dead or in jail. You know what I'm saying? So, him trying to raise me, it was hard in the beginning. It was hard because I had to adjust to different rules, different things, different people. And like I said before, you have to learn to adjust to your environment. I learned that at an early age. I moved around a lot, and it's just like I said, in Chicago, I'm a different person than I am in Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, I'm a different person than I am in Mississippi. I have to adjust to my environment. So in the beginning, it was very hard for me, but we had he put, it was kind of because he was busy in the streets a lot. It was more of me and his future wife didn't see eye to eye, you know. And it's kind of hard. It was kind of hard on her when it came to me, because in his eyes, you know, I couldn't do no wrong. And it was just like, you know, I used the card of she just don't like me, you know, type shit, you know what I'm saying? But I was being an asshole. You know, I ain't even finna lie to you, I was being an asshole, but I didn't like her son at that time. Now me and him cool. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, that's my little brother. But her son, I didn't like. My little baby brother, you know, he was tied to my hip, like I said before, because um um you know, it was to keep me out of trouble. I think it was so she can be with my daddy all the time. So everybody thought I moved from Chicago with literally all my friends thought I moved to Chicago with a baby. That's how much I had that little boy. Okay. Every day, all day when I went in school. So he had ended up putting me in school, which was Addison Middle School. And as the new girl um, at school, I kept getting into trouble because, and this every time I move somewhere, when you're new, you know, people will try you, you know. Every time I had to do it when I moved to Milwaukee, I had to do it when I moved to Mississippi. And when I moved to Mississippi, I didn't even make it into school before I had my first fight. I was in front of my great grandma's house in Goose Pond. So that's another story that's coming later. But it was this girl. I met my best friend Melanie. Okay, she was the first one that started talking to me, and I formed this. It was this little quick me, Melanie, Keisha, and this other girl, Melanie, and we used to hang out. Melanie house was the party house. Like we always used to always go over there. You know, Melanie house. You know, her mom was cool as hell. She had these two sisters. You know what I'm saying? One had a baby already, but it was this one girl, this big black girl. You know what I'm saying? And she used to fuck with me. Now, back when I was in Chicago, you couldn't even look at me wrong without me popping your ass. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm in a new school. I'm gonna try to change my life. You know what I'm saying? But she kept. Don't mind my nails, y'all. I'm getting them done this weekend because it's my birthday. But anyways, so she kept fucking with me. She kept fucking with me. You know, she used to sit behind me. And I think this one day, I was just over it. Like, I was so over it. I was like, you know, I'm not trying to show my ass, but I had to prepare before I went to school that day. Like, okay, this bitch say something to me today. This bitch fuck with me today. I'm beating her motherfucking ass. And Lord knows, I don't know what we was doing. But she, regular routine. Fuck, see a bully. Let me tell you about a bully. They gonna keep fucking with you until you tap that ass, right? But see, just because I didn't say nothing, she thought I was weak. Bitch don't know me like that. Y'all bullies better be careful. When I say she walked around her desk and stood behind me, I got up, turned around. Next thing you know, one hit acrylic. I mean, she flew across that motherfucking desk. I hit that bitch so hard. And I don't, back in 8th grade, you know, me running from the police and running from whatever we gunshots and all that shit, and jumping over shit. I had hops. Baby, I jumped over the desk. You heard me? And wailed her ass something serious. Guess what? Bitch ain't about. I got suspended. my first suspension with my dad. He was so upset with me. But the thing about my dad, the way he disciplined me, it was take my phone, my go in my room, take my phone. He yelled, but he never actually, put his hands on me or nothing like that. My dad was a tall, stocky guy. So him yelling at me made me fucking cry. Like, so so he take my phone and stuff, or I could go outside and be with my friends and stuff like that. But it wouldn't be long because again, I was spoiled. So I'd be sad and walk around, pout for a few days, and then he'll let me, go outside. Or my stepmama feel sorry for me and be like, let her go outside or whatever. And my punishment wouldn't be no longer than a week or so, shit like that. But my dad, in the beginning of trying to raise a teenage girl, I think he did a great job, but it's more to this story. But this is my Milwaukee with my dad's story. So, and then another thing, like, he had got put, like I said, he put a phone in my room. So I ended up getting his boyfriend, and I kind of ran that bill up to like $700 and shit. And because back then you used to stay on the phone with your boyfriend until the morning, like y'all fall asleep together and shit like that. So it wasn't like one set plan. It was just like that bill was like $700 alone by itself. And yeah, he took that phone away from me fast, quick, in a hurry after that motherfucking bill. But my dad, I always say, he saved my life. Uh, he's Even though him raising a teenage girl, it taught me a lot. And I always tell people I don't have daddy issues. So what happened was I only lived in Milwaukee for a year around that time, 8th grade or whatever. And we end up having to rush and move to Mississippi. I another thing, I had held them up from moving because the day they decided to move, they didn't tell me they was moving. And I skipped school that day because it was penny day on the bus. And so me and my friends used to call each other out of school back then. That wasn't the first time I skipped school, but we used to play like we each other parents in Milwaukee and call each other out of school. And that particular day, they decided to move. I wasn't at school, so they had to wait until I got home to actually leave. And he was so furious. And I'm coming home like I'm been at school all day, not knowing they been up there to try to get me, and I wasn't there. I used to do all type of stupid shit. I remember my boyfriend had this ex-girlfriend, and I had all my sisters and brothers with me, and the ones from across town, and I had to fight with my little baby brother, which was my little baby with me, had to fight her in the back of our house at the motherfucking playground with all the kids there. Girl, I used to stay into some shit no matter where I went. But we end up having to move down south. So this will continue. At this time, I am about 14, and I went from Chicago to Milwaukee. Now I am about to be a Mississippian, and let me tell y'all about that. But you won't hear about it until next episode. Blog. Bye.